My name is Rie Nakajima, and then I work with sound and objects. I do performance and installation based on the idea of sculpture and music. I started to work with objects when I'm studying art in art school in London. But first sound piece was not with objects, I think. But before this sound work, I started to work with objects. That was everyday life objects, especially. They are more affordable for students, and also you can find everything can be the material, and I was fascinated with this idea rather than not to not to use the stone or woods or very rich, expensive and traditional material, rather than instead of using these material, and then just using casual material from our life environment. And but then when I started to make sound, yes, in the beginning I was also using some audio devices, but then little by little it just became just objects. But it's lots of different factors, complex in a way, because I started to work with performance. I started to perform in kind of by mistake or accidentally, someone asked me, so I just said okay. But I'm not such a performer, so I didn't mean to perform in front of people. So I didn't want to spend any extra effort with this activity. So I just used leftover material that I could use for my sculpture. So I just found what's left on my shelf and which I haven't used, and then so that's how I started to use objects in my performance. But also installation, I was using objects in my installations. I think I'm interested in the continuity from my everyday life to my work, and the extension of that, and then. Yeah, sometimes people find my work as a ecological perspective, but yes, I think. But in Japan, we have this word mottainai, like that's if you can still use, you keep it, and then to wait until this can be used again, or like remaking things, like recycling, remaking, and yeah, this mending. I really like these activities of mending, and yeah, so that's the best part for. I mean, my favorite part in the artwork, art making, and so of course this ecology is just come out naturally, but it's not my concept. Yeah. Yeah. So when I choose objects, I think I tend to place myself very flat and equal relationship to the objects, and then if I feel warm in a way, like then I would use it. That could be sometimes because of the sound quality of this, or visual quality of this, or just the potential nature of the potential of these objects, and that's somehow interest me or something like that. And after I discover lots of stories around why I was interested in that, or but then when I choose, it's more spontaneous and intuitive. The idea of sculpture is quite center of this my practice. That's how I started art, like just to. I was fascinated with the idea of sculpture, but it was not about like sculpture like specific works or something, but I was fascinated with the fact that you can create some shapes, even it's ridiculous, in front of people, and you can exhibit to people, and then so that was somehow you can be in a way, like I think we are all of us are not important creatures, and then we are like we can be, and that's why I relate to objects, and at the same time I relate to other people and other contexts. But then all these things is about sculpture for me. Like we are like all not important objects, subject and presence, but we coexist together, and we create space and shaping this the time, and it's flexible and fluid depending on where and when. So that's this process and transition is somehow relating to my idea of sculpture, but yeah. So I mean, your question is about the performance and installation. Is I don't separate it now. More and more, I aim to make them together, like I looked for the meeting point of those two different activities, and then it's got closer in the last years, but not always the meeting. That's why it's so interesting, because yeah, I think there's some space between, but then it's also collaborative space, and yeah, well, I always have this idea of a point, and first you create a point, and one point, if I place one point, a sound or visual, and then that's suggest the gesture of the place, or like how do you say, the relationship to the individual's body to the space, or so if the sound or is from the in the back of your body, or right side or left side on front, and if it's front you can see it, but then when it's back you can't see it, but then you know what something there. But then when you place two things, second one there, it's create a distance, then your sense of space transforms. And then third one is also, third one is triangle, and that's a really creative place. It's not even just one line. But then this, it's just my imagination, and I don't know how other people really perceive. But then you don't know, the first one, sometimes it's obvious, but then you would realize what it is after seventh sound sometimes. So this kind of, I don't know when the individual's sound or individual's nature really stands out, in which moment. It's adding and removing, and well, it's a process, I guess. Yeah. I just know if I follow what I planned, my work is not good. This I know from early period of my practice, because I tried, and then I didn't find it interesting. Like, not the process is not interesting, but my work was not interesting. So, but then within this, when I plan, I have some stress, because you have to follow your plan. And then there's always a sub-product. So when I plan, I always make two things together, because some things just come out very last minute, which is always more interesting. And then that was when I worked with installation. This was not the performing practice. But then when I saw that myself, I thought, why just not forget about planning and just focusing on this side production, like something just come out naturally. So I tried not to plan anything until the last minute, even installation and performance, and then try if something come out like I find interesting before, and then yes, it came out. So I thought in my case, maybe I shouldn't really plan. But that's why I said I work with chance, but the chance it's just my nature, because I cannot really, I think the sound, well, my work is always, I work with space, I work with the sound of the place, and then the context. Everything should have the nature of chance, I guess.